Good afternoon, Pablo. Today I'm going to talk about the grand scheme of Christianity. The grand scheme of Christianity is about Christianizing and Westernizing, which means that they are sole responsibility of the Europeans, the pagan religion from Europeans coming into Africa and to all the Melanesian countries, especially the black race, the Negroids, the Niggas. Their role, their main objective was to Christianize them and Westernize them. So what is the meaning of Christianization and Westernization? The definition of Christianization and the Westernization, in my own view, is about destroying the black culture, destroying the identity and the history and the folklore and the language of black race. Remember, the black race are the race that have a culture. We have a deep root culture from Africa to Melanesian, and this message is not only for Papua New Guineans. This message is for all the Melanesians. I'm talking about the Kanakis in New Caledonia, the West Papuans, Fijians, Vanuatuans, Solomon Islanders, Papua New Guineans. Melanesians must remember that when the Christianity came into our nations, they came with salt and sugar, and they came with the Bible. They brought in the Christianity. And they Christianized us. They Christianized the Melanesian countries. They Christianized the world, Africa, and the entire world. And while in the process, they said, your traditional name was not the right name, so we'll give you a Christian name. And they said, your traditional lifestyle way of living was not good, so we will teach you how to live the Western system of lifestyle. So they destroy our language, they destroy our culture, they destroy our self-conscious and awareness and self-confidence. They destroy the spirit of being a black man. And they feel in us their own philosophies, their own indoctrination. They fill our brains with that. And they brought in this Aslan education system. The Aslan education system, the definition of Aslan education system, the meaning of Aslan education system, if you look up on the Wikipedia, is deaf and dumb. It's like a mute communication. When you want to communicate with somebody who don't speak, the mute, the deaf, you use sign language to communicate. The Aslan education means that. So they converted Melanesians and Africans into pagan religion. And we adopted into this, the false doctrine of worshiping the sun god, the pagan sun god. And we become Christianized. Today I want to leave you a message to the young uprising generation. I want you to remember that when you have a newborn children, try and name after your traditions and your language like our fathers have done. My real name is Kuchiriake. My bed name is Kuchiriake. My Christian name was Isaac. They said, you are a son of Abraham. That's Christianity name. But my real name is Kuchiriake. Now I come to realize why Westernization want to Christianize us. Why Christianity want to Westernize us. It's about destroying our language. And our language, must remember, our language contains a scientific information about making the rain to come down, making the sun to shine, making the weathers to, bring in drought, bring food, how to catch fish, how to make magic. Our language, our traditional language contained it, and Papua New Guineans, you know what I'm talking about. They want us to destroy our scientific language. And some of our 6th generation to 5th generation now, they have already forgot about the scientific language. They don't no more all on to the traditional system of life. Traditional history and our traditional language, our dialects. Houseman system has been done away. Houseman system has been done away. They said that's evil. But I want to challenge the Melanesians and Papua New Guineans to bring back the Houseman system. Bring back our culture. Name the children. This nowadays, when the children are born, give them the traditional name, not the Christianity name. Because the more we give them the Christianity name, the more they become a Rocky Rambo. They become a commandos in Hollywood movie stars, and they are just only dreaming in their brain, just dreaming. Just dream that they want to be like them. That is what exactly Christianity wants us to be doing. That's what the Europeans want us to do. That's why they brought the pagan religion into Papua New Guinea and the Melanesian countries and the African countries, into the black race countries. So we must realize now, it's time for us to look at what has happened down the line. And those of you who are educated, those of you who are social scientists and philosophers, it's time for us to dig deeper. It's time for us to dig deeper into the indoctrination of Christianity and Westernization philosophies. And you will never find a black history in the history of the book. Papua New Guinea was said that we were existed 5,000 years ago, but all of a sudden we exist in 1500s. All of a sudden we exist in 1500s. And the time period was 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. I don't know. I have the history. In the next video, I will show you that. So all of a sudden, we come into existence in 1500s. If you have existed 5,000 years ago, Papua New Guinea will be overpopulated. Melanesian countries will be overpopulated. But all of a sudden, we come existing in 1500s. But those who know our history, they don't want to connect our history back to West Africa, where our ancestors came out from Africa from 3,200 ships, crossing over the Atlantic. So we were indoctrinated. We were indoctrinated into Christianity, and they want to westernize us, and they change our name. The only way to do that is change our name, destroy our history, destroy our culture, destroy everything. Now, Papua New Guinea, we have lost our culture, our scientific language, our traditional dialect. Now we have lost everything. And I am encouraging all Papua New Guineans to try and teach your children about your history, your ancestors, your tradition. Teach them the Marathon. Teach the children how to speak their own Marathon, the dialects of 800, 1,000 plus language of Papua New Guinea. Let them experience their culture. This message also goes to our Melanesian brothers and sisters. So, the grand scheme of Christianity is to westernize black race, the Melanesians and Africans. But Melanesians might remember, our ancestors came from West Africa. They sailed out of 3,200 ships, and history is there. And this woman called Margaret Mead, or someone, Margaret Mead, anthropology says Papua New Guineans were hunters and gatherers. Bullshit. Bullshit. So Papua New Guineans, you must research your history now and start naming your children after your ancestors, after your land and your language and your traditions. Even if you go to a church and they want to change, no, give me Christian name. Yes, my name is this. I have to put my traditional name into Christianity if they want that too. So that is a challenge for Papua New Guineans and all the Melanesian countries. And I will keep posting on this one, and I encourage you all to make your own research, because the history is already on the Wikipedia and on the encyclopedia and is already in the World Library books. We are no more in isolation. We are no more in darkness. So remember, the grand scheme of Christianity is about Christianize the black race and Westernize the black race. So what does that mean? Destroy the culture, destroy the language, destroy the identity of black race, and introduce Western philosophy, Western culture into the black race. In the process, they want us to adopt and accept gay marriage, prostitution, and all kinds of immoral things. Adopting Western civilization and Western culture is, we are going to turn into, you will have to adopt to the culture where they accept it. And it's gay marriage is okay. Good is good. Good is evil and evil is good. Gay marriage is okay. Prostitution is okay. That's what the Western civilization want to teach us. So if you care about your culture, if you care about your tradition, if you care about your children and your family and your future for the next generations, go back to your history. Go back to your ancestors, because your ancestors are the true history and the correct principle of how to live a life. Even in the Western civilization, when you look at Samoans and other Polynesian countries, Maoris, they have not left their culture. When you look at the Asians and when you look at the Chinese and Indonesia, somewhere, they have not left their culture. The only people that left their culture and become a stereotype is the Africans and Melanesians. Yeah? Africans and Melanesians, those people who lost their identity and their culture. And what I'm talking about, those people who lost their culture, is because those people who are willing to, they just left their culture and want to be a westernized, they lost everything. But those people who still live in Africa, in a remote place, they still practice their culture. And Papua New Guineans who live, Melanesians who live in isolation and there's not much influence, they still practice their culture. All onto your culture, because that is your identity and that is who you really are. This is a message to all Melanesians, Papua New Guineans. This is a little bit of tip of iceberg I'm sharing you. Time to time, I will continue to share with you guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.